Hello, good morning. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Today I am rocking my Fulani cultural hat.
And I think because of that, you should be Ibrahim Asori Balde.
I should
today.
be Ibrahim Asori Balde. You know, the reason I put on my Tengare today, yesterday UNESCO was here, and we discussed on how to preserve our intangible cultural heritage.
Yeah, I saw
so
that.
it was really interesting, and on how to try and incorporate our culture with the conventional lifestyle we are living. So this is what I am doing today.
Did you watch the thing on the Soninke language that UNESCO did some months ago?
Well, I watched it. I watched it.
That was tremendous.
I think the Sarahule tribe, they have a very rich culture.
It was brilliant. It went on for several hours. And in fact, I downloaded the whole 8 hours, I think it was. And I have it in case anybody wants to watch it. But it was really something to behold. It was lovely.
I watched it. So it's important for us to have our own lifestyle at some point. But it's also important to hold on to our culture. I mean, sometimes culture gives you direction where you belong. If you see me wearing Tengare, you'll know Balde belongs to the Fulani tribe. If you see another man wearing another thing, you'll know the person belongs to the Aku tribe or the Sirir tribe. So tribe. Mr. Mboj, you're here sitting and you are a Sirir.
Yes, this is what I'm told. Your hat there looks very tangible to me.
Right, that's
so it looks tangible, yeah. You're right. That makes sense.
So this is what I keep saying.
Yeah.
I'm told that I'm a Serer. All right, I said, granted. I've never lived among Serers. My mother spoke Wolof to me. I have no idea I can speak the language. So the active stuff in me is not really Serer. You know what I mean? So I like to call a spade a spade. All these romanticizations and stuff, you know, our parents did that. I'm a bit sore-fitted of that now. We want to move on to something else. So that's my feeling.
And I know you don't even know Serer. There are words that you can't even speak.
Well, Nafio. Everybody knows Nafio.
Those are basic. those are basic greetings. If humble them, you know, those are the things. You know, Mr. Ade.
Yeah,
I mean, you partly your father side is Mandinka from
Creole.
Gambia. You know, you have this Gambian connection.
Gambia, Guinea.
You know, Gambia, Guinea.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Liberia connection.
Yeah, you're ECOWAS.
I call myself an ECOWAS child, you know, because my mother's people settled in Sierra Leone in the late 1800s, and they came from Abeokuta in Nigeria. You know, my mother's grandparents, both sets of grandparents on my mother's side. Whilst my father, as you rightly said, had connections in Guinea and in the Gambia, Mandinka, but I never spoke the language because in those days, growing up, they said, oh, it will spoil your English accent. They wanted us to speak English with a particular accent, and they thought it would somehow destroy it, which was nonsense, of course, because I had friends who were Lebanese, they spoke Arabic. I had friends who were Indian, going to school, and they spoke Hindi. It didn't spoil their accent. So why would Mandinka spoil mine? Spoil mine? I think also the fact that my father didn't have anybody to speak with at home, because my mother obviously did not speak it. Although he spoke it with his sister, but of course that was, you know, when they met, they would speak Mandinka. But you know, But I for me, you know, living in Europe, where they, you know, a lot of Europeans have preserved a lot of their culture, and even sell it, so that people go there to watch things from everything from ballet to opera to what. That's part of the sort of intangible cultural heritage, and yeah, we have ours, and we should be equally proud of it.
But this is the key, though, Ade. The selling bit, the tourism bit, comes along, but it's sort of adventitious. It came on later.
Yeah, later.
So whatever I'm doing must be real to me. I must be honest, you know, be serious about it. So this idea that this culture, somehow we sell it as a product for tourism that is cheapening our culture.
It's a fake version.
It's fake. It's a commodification of culture, for God's sake. Culture doesn't have a price tag, you know what I mean? So this is the important thing. If I call it my culture, I must be serious to it. I must live it, not merely pay lip service to it.
Or switch it on when tourists
switch it on, that's it. So we are not living according to it, yet we claim it all the time.
Well, absolutely. I think we are not doing what we are supposed to do 100%. That's why most of these cultures are fading away now. You can see there are things that we've known for a very long time. Now we don't see it happening anymore. Although we've tried to select the good ones, you know, to live with the good ones and try to live with the ones that we think they are bad.
Human beings change. There was a time in Europe when they burned witches. You know, any woman who was a certain age and looked a certain way, they get accused of being a witch, and they get burned. They don't do that anymore. You know,
and that happened. It happened in reality.
Of course.
Absolutely. You know, they record everything. so you don't even have to take anybody. It's not like, oh, like for us, a lot of it is oral. For them, a lot of it is written. So it's written, it's recorded, dates, times, places.
The Inquisition.
Of course.
They have a name for it, the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, of course.
So which part of history is more accurate, Mr. Ade? We have three steps of gathering history: the archaeological, the written, and the oral. You understand?
Yeah.
I think most of the time people rely more on the written history and oral history.
Because even written history, it depends on who writes it. So imagine you and I are involved in a war, and you know this cliche about, you know, the victor always gets to tell the story of that war, not the vanquished. Because you're the one who was defeated, you would have completely different take on the war itself, why it started, who was right, who was wrong. But I, as the winner, it's like what happened in Europe after the Nazis had been defeated in Germany, you know, the Nazis and their allies. The ones who ended up writing the stories, the books, the films, the television series, were all the ones who won that particular war. And that ended up being the narrative. But it's not the only narrative, you know, and that's why recently in Germany you've seen people kind of pushing back, saying, well, actually, that's not really the only side of the story. We might have been the bad guys, but actually we had a different story to tell. So there's no, you know, so even the written one can be contested, of course, depending on who wrote it.
And crucially as well, the way you just sort of compartmentalize these three, oral, written, and all
and
of that,
archaeological.
they are not mutually exclusive.
No, not quite.
The same historian will use oral sources here, use written sources there, use different sources. This is what they do. This is how historians
work. It's a combination
work. It's
of
a
different...
combination, that's
yes.
it. So they are not mutually exclusive at all. That's how the historian works. Takes whatever source that you have, given what you want to find out, what your purpose is, so you take the best source available. And you know,
sometimes the archaeological can completely lead to a rewriting of history.
Oh, okay.
One of the best examples being the terracotta warriors in China. Nobody even knew they existed. And yet when they found these fantastically sculpted, real size images of thousands of soldiers, suddenly they had to completely, you know, they just came out completely by accident. And now, of course, they're like one of the biggest tourism attractions in China. You know, people go and see it because it's marvel, and they've lent some of them to museums around the world for people. I saw them when I came to London.
Well, there are things that happened, and there are things that, you know, if it's not history that is compiled, we are going to lost all of them at some point. If they tell you there were huge people living on Earth before, huge, tall people, as tall as this building, sometimes you will deny it. But until when you see how
you see
archaeological
the bones, or
history
you see the skeletons of
reveals that. I mean, I saw a documentary of a skeleton of a human being. I couldn't believe. Let's take a good example. The dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I mean, these things, if at all it's no history, you wouldn't believe they once existed.
Well, archaeology is the one, because there are no recorded, written things about dinosaurs. All we know about dinosaurs are from archaeological digs. You know, there's nobody recorded them anywhere. You know, not in any of the religious texts, not in any other text.
Yeah.
So, but the archaeology tells us that they did exist.
Yeah.
So yes, archaeology is a very crucial element.
Exactly. So thank you very much, viewers, for always following this program. We'll take a look at the African Code. From the African Code, the newspaper review, Mr. Adedrame is here, to help us go through some of the stories. And we'll be talking to Lamin B. Samate, Program Manager, EIA, National Environment Agency. Actually, I don't know what EIA is, but Mr. Mboj was able to make research yesterday. I don't know what happened to my research part.
What happened? Yes, because I came over and
so
said
you,
to
you did not do the research?
Afterwards, I went over and did something else.
Something else, exactly.
Well, Mr. Samata will tell us.
So when he's here, he will let us know what's the meaning of EIA. And from there, we'll be talking to Buba Saidi Khan, QCell Marketing Supervisor, Momodu Bari, Sales Supervisor, QCell 75% recharge bonus. Hey, QCell you over 75%. QCell is angry there. They are making data cheaper, they're making communication cheaper, they're making everything easy for each and every person. Mr. Ade,
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you something. You know, I run a shop and I sell QCell SIM cards.
Right.
Today I need to go get a pack of another packet of SIM card. You know why? They've exhausted the ones that I have because of this promotion. So the promotion is a win-win situation for everybody. We are happy.
That's right.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at the African proverb. Happiness planted in others grow back to you. Happiness planted in others grows back to you.
And is that true?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe.
Okay. Give us an example. Give me an example.
Give
me an example.
It's true.
Give us an example.
Yes. There was a time a guy favored me, you know. I was really in a state whereby I needed favor, you know, at some point, and couldn't get anywhere because I was at a situation, in fact, on a traffic, and I needed to go to work almost every day, you know, and I have to fly from my home on my foot. I mean, to get to the guy's place. You understand? So this guy have been bringing me to work for almost a year, Mr. Adedrame. Every day. You understand? So at some point, I don't know what happened. The guy is not driving anymore. He's not doing. He's not like taking anybody anymore. Because in fact, for him, he walked now. You understand? Okay. There was a time I met him on traffic, and I was with my wife. He was walking and going on the main highway, going to the main highway, and I said to my wife, I need to stop. No matter what happened, I need to stop for this guy. Right. I said to her, I need to call him. I have to reverse, back. And I said to the guy, if I move without taking you, I will bust my car tires. You understand? So he laughed. So this is happiness planted in me. And I felt good. He's been favoring me for almost
a good deed.
For almost a year.
Returned.
You understand? Yes. Every day I go to his house to bring me to work.
Okay. Cool.
So that's an example.
Okay, so before I give you that, when you want to impress the guy from NEA, this environmental impact assessment. You didn't ask me. I don't know why you didn't ask me.
Oh, okay. Environmental impact.
We did this story on the news.
Okay, yeah.
It's environmental impact assessment. And it's about the fact that you have these petrol stations close to buildings, residential buildings sometimes. And so the people working in them need to be aware. So that's essentially what the story was about.
Okay.
But in terms of the goodness, I think Moj wanted to come in, actually.
That interpretation there is very, very interesting, sort of almost making it sort of quid pro quo.
One good
One
deed deserves
good
another.
thing deserves another. For me, I see it slightly differently. I think here it is talking about the fulfillment I derive from giving others happiness.
Yeah.
Never mind whether they return,
return,
they reciprocate or
quite.
anything is absolutely irrelevant. It simply comes from the fact that I've given somebody else happiness or the opportunity, I've brought him happiness or her, then that in itself is fulfilling.
Yeah, it's true, and it's something I firmly, strongly believe in, that, just the act of being kind or good to people, the vibe, the buzz, the adrenaline, whatever that you get from having done that, it's beyond words, it's beyond money.
True.
And in that sense, it kind of grows back to you in that way. So yes, I certainly agree with that particular interpretation.
Exactly. So it's important. I mean, wherever love, care, comes into place, it overtakes almost everything. You can see a human being goes to an extent where they tame a lion. You understand? To tame a lion, to take a lion as your pet at some point. It's how you deal with situations, how you deal with people. You understand? Mr. Ade, you know how to deal with people. At work, you know how to deal with people outside. You have that sense of knowing how to handle situations and people. So that's why you so, whenever a person is dealing with you, the individual needs to know how to go about it. So, it's about the individual, but
good vibes.
When you play negative vibes too,
oh, yeah, quite.
They also have an impact.
So I guess in the reverse of this is probably true, that if you do kind of something wicked or bad or whatever, that also kind of somehow eats away at you. The fact that you've done it, not in a kind of your conscience or whatever. Just
That's an interesting one. You're giving it sort of another dimension, because now I'm thinking, now actually, what does it mean to plant happiness in others? What sort of actions would mean happiness? You're giving them happiness. So there, I must be sort of careful. I don't do self-indulgence, sorry. There are certain things what one wouldn't do. You know what I mean? So this is the problem with proverbs, as it were. They're just in the abstract, so poetic, so beautiful. But when it comes to the application, that's where I really have a problem.
And
that's where the problem arises. And you want to apply them.
Of course, but the beauty of it always is that everybody, you give it to 10 people, tell them walk away and come back, write down your interpretation. You probably come back with 10 different interpretations.
Absolutely.
And that's the kind of the beauty of it. There's not just one size fits all when it comes to what you think or feel about a particular proverb. And in a way, that's good.
And because we interpret according to experience.
Quite.
So we have different experiences, then you tend to see different angles.
The lens through which you view it will be different. Yeah.
Exactly. So viewers, we'll go straight to the newspaper review, and we have the Point newspaper here, and we are ready to
and what's it pointing
delve into it. New research reveals scars of Jammeh's witch hunts. Scars of Jammeh's witch hunt. It's still talking about the witch hunt exercise that was practiced by former President Jammeh and his accomplice. At some point, accusing different people of being witches and wizards.
In fact, I hadn't even seen this story when I mentioned
when
about
we
burning.
just had the Inquisition.
about burning witches and the Inquisition in
Absolutely.
Europe. So it's not something that we've left behind. Because lots of people went along with it and believed it. Routinely I hear people here saying that, this person is trying to juju me and this. I'm like, you know what? None of us is here earning multi-millions or billions. Why is anybody jealous of the little that you have?
I'm telling you.
You know, why they're not jujuing the billionaires and the multi-millionaires? They're jujuing you with your
They
little...
juju you that receive less than 10,000.
You know, like seriously, people, like, you know, but it's the thing, you know, again, we go back to, you know, sort of intangible things. And that's part of the intangible culture, that belief in that sort of thing. Really, because with some people it's so strong. It's even some people who call themselves Muslims, they actually believe in that other thing even more strongly than they believe in their religion, really, because they will do things that are completely against their religion. Really,
yeah, absolutely. It's common.
I mean,
you can see our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, the one who wears an amulet, or an amulet, whether it's the waist or the hand, or is not among us. You understand? But you can see people.
how many of us wear amulets?
I mean, you see it every day, everywhere.
So
You know.
When we were in the 70s, when we were young, you know, pre-teen years, every other day, perhaps, or is it every other week, you would hear that a witch or something had gone Jafur, I don't know, hysterical, of some sort. But by the time I got to high school, that language had sort of receded. You know what I mean? It's a cultural thing.
I'm kind of smiling because we went through that too. Yeah,
that's it. So when Yahya Jammeh sort of revived it, I thought, oh, why do you have to do this?
I thought it left this behind.
What's wrong with you? He was sort of like a grave digger of some sort, bringing back a relic that we thought that we had buried. It was the most retrograde stuff to do.
Ghosts of the past were being exhumed by him.
You know what witch hunt does? It victimizes even the individual family at some point. I can remember in my village when a woman was accused of being a witch, you understand? At some point, even if her kids passed, this is how we look at those kids, you understand? There was a guy that they said, okay, this guy, I mean, he have some medicine that he put on the witch. So she will start talking, okay, I killed this person, I ate this individual, you understand? So they did that to her. I was thinking that's hypnotizing the individual. You know, a sort of a concoction, you give it to the individual, and when the person takes that concoction, you know, at some point the person start talking, you know, talking things, you understand? So for me, I think it's not fair. I mean, it's against human rights for a person to do that. You know.
I came across, you know, I'm always digging for stuff. So I came across about 300 or 400 photographs that a British man had taken in his travels through parts of West Africa, including Cameroon. And so he got to one village in Cameroon and they showed him this woman. And he said, oh, who is she? And they said, oh, she's one of the wives of the chief, because she was being beaten by the chief. And he said, what happened? And they said, oh, the witch doctor has this tarantula that they cover the tarantula, and when they take up the tarantula, and if he walks in a certain direction, the witch doctor interprets it that this is. And the reason, so the guy had written this whole thing about when he came upon this scene, and they were explaining to him. And they said the witch doctor had said that because the tarantula walked in this direction, it meant that the chief's child who had been sick was because of his first wife. And so he not only beat her, he threw her out of the village. And so he photographed all of this. And so the beautiful photographs, sad to say. But, you know, that's kind of nonsense. That, you know, that they believe this, that only this guy could interpret the walk of the tarantula. If he walked in this direction, it meant this. If he walked in another direction, it meant this. To the extent where the chief ended up kicking his wife out of the village, because his first wife, because, you know, she had been the reason for the fifth wife's son being sick. Total rubbish. But, you know, kind of believe it totally. So this Jammeh thing, as Mboj says, he kind of exhumed the ghosts and things from the past that we felt.
In fact, I mean, I think we've gone to an extent, we victimize our people to an extent, we even victimize I mean, some of these animal species, the likes of owl.
Owls,
You
yes,
know,
of
when,
course.
when
Across
I mean,
West Africa,
it
that's
is
a thing.
attributed to. There was a time when I was in grade 2, Latrikunda Primary School. We saw an owl. It flew over our school.
Right.
So everybody went out. We
Panic.
took stones, stoning it. We went up to one Christian cemetery. You know, we said, okay, you see, it flew to the cemetery.
cemetery,
So it's definitely a bad one, you know. So we started stoning the owl.
Owls have a very bad rep in West Africa.
That's
You're
it.
right.
And when you contrast it with other societies where an owl is a symbol of wisdom,
wise old owl.
Dr. Owl, wise old owl.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's different.
In my village, in my community where I'm from, when it makes a certain sound in the night,
I know, yeah.
they'll tell you someone is going to die.
Yeah, that's.
And we still believe in that.
It's the same in Sierra Leone. We got that in Sierra Leone.
We still believe in that, man.
Yeah.
So that is what it is. So I mean, Mr. Ade, what do you think should be done? I mean, the damage has already been done by Jammeh and his people. So these people, what are we going to do again for their families to make sure this situation is being contained? Because there are people that, you know, still people are pointing fingers at them. Your father was a wizard, your mother was a witch.
It's a difficult one because in many instances you might say education. You know, you educate people, you kind of educate them away from that type of thinking. Now the reason I say it should be the case, but it's a difficult one, is because if people remember back to the TRRC, there was a doctor, and I wish I could remember his name, and he came to that TRRC and he defended Jammeh's nonsense about being able to cure AIDS.
Yeah, that's Dr. Tamsir Mbow.
You're probably right.
Yeah, Dr. Mbow, I watched the video.
I was shocked that he was defending it.
I watched the video even this day.
Saying that, yes, it was, because I even had to watch it after the day it was, you know, when he was on the stand. And I thought, did I misunderstand him? Or was he really defending it, saying that, yes, it was efficacious, it worked, and it was... But he was defending it. And I'm thinking, but this guy is still working in the medical field.
And you know, the lead counsel was quick to ask him, most of these people...
I'm glad you remembered his
Most
name.
of these people Jammeh claimed to cure, most of them died at the end of the time.
Yeah.
You know, and he couldn't even defend it.
That was the reason I ran away from the Daily Observer.
Right.
In 2007.
Right.
That was when he said that he announced that he could cure AIDS. And then we had to defend that position.
Yeah, correct.
One couldn't possibly
you couldn't go
defend
against
it at all with any conscience.
Or go against it and live.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so after a few sort of written articles on it, I just stopped going to work. I knew that I was in the middle of something very evil.
Yeah.
And one couldn't really go ahead with it.
Yeah.
So one just left. This was the very thing that made me run away from the Daily Observer.
So as I said, education isn't always the cure. And if people don't believe me, they can search out that testimony on the TRRC. Still, you can still find it on YouTube.
So the Mpox outbreak in the Gambia by...
we're calling it an outbreak. It's one case.
Yes.
Sierra Leone has had over 50 deaths.
Yeah,
That's an outbreak.
The Point newspaper said...
but this is it. According to...
The Point newspaper said Gambia decries Mpox outbreak.
Decries.
That's the statement.
You don't like those
we
words.
got from the ministry. They said that if you got just one case in a population where it is not circulating at all, they consider it an outbreak. So that was their definition.
That's right.
Yes. So, I mean...
And people should not start panicking, because 8 weeks ago, I was getting things from people saying, we've got cases of Mpox in the Gambia and the government are keeping it hidden. Well, it's such a visible thing. I'm not sure how easy it is to hide it, you know, if it's out there, you know, in kind of extreme cases where it breaks out all over the skin. So they're telling people to be wary. And of course, they're asking them about, you know, what countries have you traveled to recently? Have you traveled to a country where there's a serious outbreak of this disease? And, you know, they've been sensible so far, telling the public, you know, what to look out for and what the symptoms are and so on. So,
all right, so yesterday was the protest organized by the
Gambians against looted assets.
Yeah, so I think if we do our things responsibly, I mean, we will get what we want without even fighting or even pushing and pulling. You can see how different it is from the previous one.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, in a mature democracy, you know, you want people to be able to come out and you know, air their grievances. It was peaceful. Some people, you could tell, were there for the vibes. There was some music and people were chanting along to Bob Marley. I can't remember what song it was now. You know, but yeah,
this is also a win for President Adama Barrow. I mean, this is how we manifest there is democracy. You know, when I was in Istanbul, I witnessed a demonstration whereby the citizens went to the park.
Right.
They were surrounded by the police. The police cars were there, but they were just there with their cards, showing.
Did you know what they were protesting about?
Well, I didn't.
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I didn't. I was just around.
Yeah,
but I asked my friend what were they. They said these people, they protest almost every month. You understand?
Yeah.
So they were there. It was so organized, and
I
you
mean,
know, there was no chaos.
If you go to London, there's a constant protest about Palestine outside the American embassy, but it's the most heavily guarded embassy in England, actually.
In Palestine?
No, the American embassy in London.
In London, okay.
They were protesting about Palestine and about America's unconditional sanctioning of all the horrors that Israel is committing there. And so there's a constant, it's in fact, that one's not every week, it's every day. They're literally there every day protesting. But I've been on some of the biggest protest marches ever held in England. I remember during the Iraq War, you know, allegedly 1 million people marched. And I remember before Mandela got released, we were marching against apartheid. And if anybody knows London, we were setting off from Clapham Junction, Clapham Common, I beg your pardon, to go to Trafalgar Square. It's quite a long distance. And before we'd even left, the first lot of people had already arrived. That was so, it's like 500,000 people apparently marched on that particular day. And it was quite fantastic. I mean, the one against the Iraq War, I remember I took loads and loads of pictures. I have them, you know. But yeah, in a democracy, you should allow that sort of thing. And it's like, we shouldn't even start patting ourselves on the back. The only reason we're doing it is because we've come from a kind of authoritarian system where this kind of thing was frowned on, blocked, permits were not given, and so on and so on. I mean, one of the reasons in London, when if you want to march, they ask for a permit, is so that the police can tell you that, oh, there's another march by so-and-so that is going down that route. But that's all. I mean, we did, you know, protests against, you know, Hatton Garden, which is like the diamond buying and selling area of London. And we were protesting against blood diamonds from Sierra Leone. And we had to have a police permit for that, and we were given it.
Well, but you see, realize that they don't really call it a permit. It's more like a notification, just as you said, so that they can take care of whatever.
Yeah.
So, but this is the key. You said the second protest, so different from the first. The police response. That's really the key difference between the two.
Yeah.
So hence we've had different outcomes.
Yeah, quite.
So there is such a thing called democratic policing. You know what I mean? The people really have a right to assembly, peaceful assembly.
Yeah.
You cannot deny that.
True.
You see, when you allow them this space to vent their grievances, it's smoother than when you want to bottle it up, because when you do, it will explode at some point.
Right.
So it was a good thing to do, and this is it.
Exactly. I saw they handed over their petition.
Several petitions.
Yeah, several. One among them is the AKI. And of course, GFF as well. I mean, I've seen someone written something, we need a new stadium, we miss home games. I saw Babu Kanranesi, are you serious? Bread to $12?
$12. Yeah. I mean,
so you can see all those things.
People were, it was quite a mixed bag of protests. So you had people from across the political divide as well. And there was one woman, when we spoke to her, hers was about the fact that she claimed that we had a legal permit and yet our house was demolished. You know, so there were quite a lot of things that people were kind of alleging, and you had some council leaders going there and signing petition. and one of them was asked, does this mean that council that you lead is exempt from corruption, because this is a march against corruption, and you're here signing this petition saying you're against corruption. What about the corruption that's been revealed in your own Brikama council? You know, so that was quite an interesting question that somebody asked from the crowd.
A rep from the National Youth Council was there, and at
lots of people were there.
Yeah, at some point he was booed by the crowd.
He was booed.
Yes, and
National Youth.
Yes, so from a department, I'm not pretty sure, but
okay.
I mean, I think the protesters, they were not National Sports Council, rather.
Oh, right.
Dauda.
Okay.
Jawla, he was there.
Right.
I saw a video of him. He was on this morning, I think few months ago. He was booed by the crowd, and in fact they were throwing bottles of water, pouring water, and he was evacuated by the police. Yeah, so it's like, it's more of being, I mean, we're not happy with how you people are executing your duties, and you know, we're not seeing ourselves in the situation.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes what can start out as a peaceful protest or demonstration can sometimes escalate with just a single incident. You mentioned this person, you know, pouring water. There's no reason for that, really. Make your protest about whatever, if it's corruption at GFF or Sports Council, whatever. Make your protest. It doesn't have to descend to those depths, you know. But, you know, once people are in a crowd, a kind of mob mentality has the danger of taking over, and then the crowd. And I lived in Brixton throughout the 3 biggest riots they ever had there, and they started out as one thing and ended up being something else altogether, you know. So
for me, I'm thinking with the organizers, how organized are they? Just as you said, we seem to be seeing, or we think that the group, what turned out, were kind of like a coalition of grievances.
Of the disaffected.
The disaffected,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what is the common thread running through them? So the organizers, how are they setting down their objectives? So we should be careful what objectives we set for ourselves.
We've seen the petitions, which all seem to have a particular theme about corruption in certain areas of our lives, be it the GFF. I saw one that was addressed to FPAC, you know, Public Accounts Committee. So yeah, I mean, but they've set them out, and we hope to interrogate those petitions today. We're intending to do a news story because many people will be thinking, what were the petitions all about? What were the grievances, as you rightly say? Yes, but I think what ended up happening is that everybody who seemed to have a grievance of any sort turned up. So it wasn't just, you know, the organizers might have intended it for it to be about those particular ones, but I said the woman who, the house was demolished, what's that got to do with corruption?
Yeah, I mean, even if we've seen someone also putting forward, I mean, his concern. He said, drifting, it's not a crime. You know, they should have a space or a place or a location for where they can do this drifting.
No, it is a crime.
You know, because
a lot of the cars are unlicensed, a lot of the drivers are unlicensed, and it's dangerous, and it can be deadly. You could either kill yourself, kill other people, or injure
How
yourself
about if
or
they
other
have
people.
A certain location for these people?
No, you can't do that.
No, it's not that. It's not about that. It's you know, it's not about that. I mean, you know, because, you know, anybody watching, drifting is essentially kind of reckless driving when you're spinning your wheels and you're spinning the car and so on.
So
and
finally, there was a bachelor too who was so concerned with his car. He said the bride price is too much.
Yes, and that's the kind of protest.
And do you know, it's a concern. It's a protest.
It's a concern for some bachelors, yes.
You know, we have a lot of them running around our office here. They are not married.
And some of them were not out there protesting because they didn't mind being not unmarried.
All right, so that is what it is. Thank you very much, Mr. Ade, for reviewing the stories with us. I mean, thank you for bearing with us this week too. I mean, I am pretty sure my girls will be back next week, inshallah, so that I can release Mr. Mbuch.
Sonko J is away for 10 days.
Oh, she's away for 10 days.
Julde is on leave. So
Wow.
they may or may not.
Then
but I think Julia returns on Monday or Tuesday.
Monday.
So she
Okay,
might.
then we'll be here for some time then. Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Ade.
Pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
viewers will take a short break. After the break, the program continues. Be reminded this program is sponsored by Q Money Sunyu Kalpe, the most reliable mobile wallet in the Gambia. So we'll be back.
Money e orange money joni weɓini nuldugol mbuɗi mi yetoma joni hiɗa wawi nuldude mbuɗi iwra ko Gambia ɗo yaha Sénégal e Q Money wallet ma on eyyi ko honno wonɗa e fadde mi yetoma udduto Q Money account ma on joni fuɗɗoɗa nuldude mbuɗi e teriɓe ma rewa ɗon ka orange money nder Sénégal fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi hiɗa wawi noddude Q Money customer care e 133 Q Money suñu kalpe ɗum no yaadi e sartaji. Q Money anin Orange Money ye bulodi nyola pour ka kori kio sone yandi ka bonan Gambia banko kan kata Senegal banko kan anin Q Money wallet e ka mune batu e muna fan Q Money account wala sign pour ka dati ka kodoki e terimal anila dimbayal kana anin Orange Money Senegal ni lafta ku Senegal sotola je Q Money customer care commandi 133 Q Money suñu kalpe nying sartolle bala.
Q Money and Orange Money has just made money transfer easier. Now you can send money from Gambia to Senegal directly from your Q Money wallet. So what are you waiting for? Get your Q Money account now and start sending money to your friends and families through Orange Money in Senegal now. For more information, call our customer care on 133 Q Money, Sunu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Banking the smart way with the new Aji Bank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Aji Bank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Aji Bank, your investment partner. Q Money ak Orange Money ñoo lëkkaloo pour yombalal leen yónnee xaalis bàyyi ko Gambia dem ba Sénégal ak Q Money wallet looy toog di xaar dawal léegi nga ubbi Q Money account pour nga mun a door di yónnee xaalis sa xariteeg sa mbokk yi jaarale ko Orange Money Sénégal léegi pour am si lu leer mun nga call Q Money customer care si 133 Q Money suñu kalpe lii dafa ànd ak sarta yuñ tëral.
Yes, we are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. Thank you very much for always following this program. Now we'll head to the third segment of this program. But thank you to our brother, Ibrahim Jawara, currently in the United States of America. Ibrahim Ade is looking young. Ade is staying healthy all the time. He eats healthy. I mean, although he doesn't sleep early, Ade leaves the office late at night and gets here very early in the morning. Ibrahim said drifting was so out of control here. The authorities designated a special area for them. They still could not stop it. It is out of control at some areas here. That's the United States of America. So it's everywhere you go. But the reason why I said probably we should allocate a special place. As far as they cannot stop it, let them not do it within our society. Let them find a special place where they will drift. If they are to kill themselves, let them kill themselves around that area.
No, a state cannot think like that. If they kill themselves, they kill themselves. No, the state is quite paternalistic. It does what is good for us. It's a very dangerous sport. We outlaw it. And this idea that we cannot take care of it. Oh, how defeatist. One can never think like that. The police must have a strategy to stop it. And that is really our duty. This whole idea about reserving a place for them, that is irresponsible.
Well, I mean, probably you might think this way, but another person is thinking another way.
No, this is not a free market of anything goes. You have responsible thinking based in logic, experience, how you do politics. So not all ideas are of equal weight. Some ideas are better than others. So it isn't like that at all. We should do the responsible thing.
I rest my case.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's move on. Petrol station operators trained on environmental and energy response, emergency response rather. We have Lamin B.J. Samate, Program Manager, EIA, NEA. And of course, we have Omar C. Gentlemen, it's good to have you on QTV this morning.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. So, Omar C., you are Director of?
Technical services.
Technical services. And, you know, it's important for us to discuss this topic. I mean, when we received your request for a coverage, and we deem it necessary to bring you on our QTV this morning. Petrol stations, these are places that you see all over. So it's important to conduct such a training to make sure all the emergency steps are taken when the need arises. So please take us through this training. I don't know if I'm to start with C or Samate.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Balde. It's a pleasure to be here for the first time, and perhaps we're going to be here many more times.
Okay.
Yes, this was a very important training for us. Actually, it was meant to happen last year, but because of our busy schedules, we were not able to implement, and therefore we brought it forward to 2025. As we are all witnessing, in the country there is exponential growth of petrol stations across the country, especially in build-up areas. It has been a concern to us, and that's the reason why petrol stations, like any other development that has environmental and social impacts, are required to be subjected to environmental screening before they are built. But before we get to answer your questions, environmental impact assessment, just to give a bit of context, actually started in the Gambia relatively newly. It has started in the advanced world, the America, Europe, and later in Africa. This came about in the Gambia, I think in 1994, when we had the National Environment Management Act promulgated. That law replaced a previous law, National Environment Management Act 1987, which was the principal law guarding environmental management in the country. But because perhaps the law was hastily, you know, if I would put it this way, promulgated, there were a lot of things left out. It was not until we participated in Rio in 1992, which was a global environment convergence. In Brazil. Where one of the resolutions was for state parties to actually put in place legislative policy and institutional framework for environmental management, and also to ensure environmental impact assessment is implemented as a practice, to ensure basically developments are sustainable. And in ensuring sustainable development, you have to make sure that, you know, these developments are assessed properly before they are implemented, so that you get to know their impacts on the environment, you get to know their impacts on public health, you get to know their impacts on socio, you know, economic livelihoods of people. So in 1994, when we had the law, we started implementing. But the law actually found, in the case of petrol station, few petrol stations were built, especially the ones in Banjul and Serekunda. They were already built before the law came into being. What the law requires us to do with regards to existing projects is to have them monitored, and so that, they have, their standards are raised. They have safeguards in place to take care of emergencies like fire outbreak, oil spills, underground leaks, etc., etc. These are all dangerous things that can happen. Petroleum products, as we all know, we depend on it for economic growth. Now, our transport system in the Gambia for now is largely, in fact, 100% dependent on it. If you are going to travel by a motorbike, you're going to use a car, you must utilize petroleum products.
True.
Otherwise, it cannot happen. So our economy is largely dependent on it. Okay? So they are important economically, but they are highly flammable products, volatile products, and therefore the need for us to ensure that care is taken, maximum care for that matter. Because if we don't do that, there can be devastating consequences. So this was the main reason why we had to organize this training. Petrol station staff increase, and they are increasing in number. Every year, National Environment Agency receives a lot of applications for petrol stations. Even today, perhaps before we finish this program, there will be an application that is submitted.
Okay.
We felt there is a need to have the operators trained, because we issue environmental approvals after the environmental impact assessment is conducted. And these environmental approvals contain series of conditions that the operators must comply with. But oftentimes, it is not the licensing owners or the owners of these petrol stations that are on the ground, to expect them to be implementing these conditions.
Yeah.
It is their employees. But unfortunately, the usual thing is when we grant approvals, people are just interested in securing their approvals and starting their projects. The people on the ground do not know about the approval conditions, things that they needed to do, to safeguard themselves and safeguard other people, especially in terms of emergency. So that was the reason why we called for this training. And it is something that we wanted to, be doing quite often.
Okay.
To ensure that, any new person that enters the business is also aware.
So it cannot go without technical.
Exactly.
So it's important with somebody to engage them.
Yeah.
Yes. Your response.
As a
You
technical
contribute
person.
absolutely to what you just said.
Thank you very much. Just as my colleague Harry stated, Lamin, this is an important thing that required us to do, because the initiative came after having consultations with the OMCs as well. And because as we grant environmental approvals, these conditions are highlighted in the approvals. And every year, the approvals is renewed for an application. But before this thing is done, usually we conduct what we call environmental audit to look at the compliance level of the proprietor. So, and we came to realize that most of the time there are gaps when it comes to the implementation of the environmental and social management plan, because this plan is developed and also is in line with the conditions. And what the mitigation measures state in the plan, those things need to be implemented accordingly. And some of this also involve training their staff in ensuring that they have the right capacity in managing waste, managing some of the emergencies that might emanate from some of the activities that they are doing. That's why the National Environment Agency, we felt it very important to have a convergent with these operators, engage them, build their capacity on environmental management, which also included waste management and emergency response. So as he said, the Environmental Impact Assessment Program is on a technical services network. We work hand in glove in ensuring that the compliance level is improved, and also the standards that are highlighted in the conditions are also followed accordingly. So this is one of the initiatives that we took in ensuring we raise awareness and also they align themselves in those conditions.
That's it. So tell us, really, I think you touched on it, some of the environmental risks posed by these petrol stations.
Yeah.
Okay. They are numerous. But mainly, when it comes to petrol stations, we're concerned with explosions, fire, outbreaks at petrol station. The products are highly flammable. You have petrol stations now dealing with LPG. They are also retailing LPG gas cylinders. You know, these are all highly flammable products that, if care is not taken, can result in fire outbreaks. So fire is one of the risks. The other risk is leaks from the underground tanks that can result in contamination of the groundwater. If the underground tanks are leaking undetected, you know, before you know, the groundwater will be detected, contaminated rather. And when we have large concentration of petrol stations in a small area, you know, a tiny piece of land, and the same place is where our boreholes are, you know, over time, you know, when we have these incidents of leakages happening, the aquifer will be contaminated, and that's going to be very expensive. We cannot afford to let that happen. The other risks associated with it is the possibility of spills. You know, these products are transported in tanker trucks, you know, and then look at our roads, especially the main source, the depot where they've been taken from, Mandinaring. It's just a narrow road that connects Lameng, NTC, and Mandinaring. And if you're familiar with the area, it's highly risky to have these heavy tanker trucks loading fuel, you know, passing through that narrow road. You know, it's a challenge. So spills can happen as a result of reckless driving.
I think it's good you mentioned it.
Exactly.
On Monday morning, I lived in Mandinaring. I just lived around the Kerewan Jalokoto end.
Good.
I witnessed an accident of a tanker and a gele in front of me.
Yeah.
So as you said, it's very narrow and the risk is very high.
Very high. So in fact, the traffic around that end during rush hour, be it early morning or in the evening when people are crossing from work, is very high. These drivers, there can be head-on collision, and that is one of the instances you can have explosion, especially if it is petrol, which is I think is more highly volatile compared to diesel. So all of these risks are some of the things that motivated us to organize this training. And like I said, we intend to roll it out because in the petroleum sector, you have the downstream and upstream, and you have the midstream as well. You know, there are people who have bulk storage facilities. They are growing in number now. In the past, we used to have only GAM Petroleum, but now we have GPS. We have others that are granted approval. They are about to start construction as well. So that area in Mandinaring is going to be highly concentrated. In fact, it's a proposed designated area for petroleum products. You know, beside transportation of the products and having the product concentrated there, you look at the proximity between compounds and that, you know, that in proposed industrial area. These are all things that actually motivated us, and like I said, we try to roll out the training to include, you know, the midstream as well as the upstream as well.
That's it. Maybe you will come in. Taking into account the environmental risks, right? So when I take it that you would have some strict regulation about where anybody can build a petrol station, isn't it? There are certain areas one imagines that you wouldn't allow people to build petrol stations there. What proportion of the petrol stations are really built where it is highly risky? Maybe they shouldn't have done that. Do we have any figures on those?
All right. You want to comment?
Thank you very much. When it comes to petrol stations, there are two things that govern them. That is in relation to PURA and also the National Environment Agency. That's why before the agency provides or grants an approval, okay, they must ensure that the proprietor meets the standards in relation to what PURA has. So that's why we work hand in glove with PURA. So along the line, there has been some emerging issues in relation to the regulations, and some things also change along the line. So that's why even at our level, we are also reviewing our EIA, that's the environmental impact assessment. Notwithstanding, we realize that there are petrol stations that are within residential areas, but the standards also change, and that emanated as a result in change of some of these guidelines and regulations, which is linked to what PURA has and also what the National Environment Agency also has. Yeah.
Do you give licenses? Are you part of that?
Yes.
The body that gives license.
Are you part of it?
Yes. So what happened is, prior to coming of PURA, or let's say prior to the enactment of Petroleum Products Act 2016, I'm not sure if I quoted the right legislation, but that particular act that was passed in 2016, you know, regulation of petrol stations was segmented. You have Gambia Fire and Rescue Services granting fire safety certificates. You have physical planning granting building permits. You have National Environment Agency granting environmental approvals. By law, these institutions are supposed to coordinate their efforts, because before you come for an environmental approval, we want to see evidence of a fire certificate being granted. You know, of course, the environmental approval would advise the issuance of a building permit. Okay? But when PURA came into, petroleum, several legislations, you have regulations relating to even, bulk storage, transportations, etc., etc. But specific to petroleum product service stations regulations, there is a space requirement for a service station. There is also a distance requirement between a service station and residential areas, between the service stations, public gathering places, including mosques, churches, schools, hospitals, etc., etc. But in 2021, there is a request for the amendment of a particular provisions in that particular regulation that actually cancel out, for example, 50-meter requirement between a service station and a residential area. That was removed and then was replaced with the need for service stations to have a robust system of health and safety, emergency response inbuilt, so that they can deal with this. Because
so the distance requirement
requirement for especially residential areas was removed. Now we have distance requirement for public gathering places maintained. But even at that, there are instances where a minister can actually issue an exemption. Where you go to PURA, like he said, since PURA came into being, we have a coordinated process. The first point of call for any applicant is to go to PURA, because they are implementing the service stations regulations.
Okay.
And that is where the distance requirement has to be, met first. So they do a preliminary assessment and then clear you to say the site is suitable and refer you to NEA, physical planning, and Gambia Fire and Rescue Services to get the other requirements before you go back to PURA to get a construction permit and then an operational lancing. You understand? So, but we have that distance requirement removed for residential areas, but for public gathering places, it still remain.
Okay.
But like I said, there could be an instance where a minister, you, for example, you know, after applying for a preliminary assessment, and Pura said your site is not suitable because of proximity to a mosque or a church or a football field, you know, and then you appeal. You can go to the minister and appeal. And of course, if you put up a strong case, you can be actually granted an exemption. And where that happens, we have no way of denying you. Pura has no way of denying you. But even with that, if you come for environmental approval, the National Environment Agency can look at other factors and say your application is not qualified and you're going to be denied an environmental approval.
And will the minister push again?
We have not had an instance where the minister would push against such decisions.
But what
I think the important thing here is really essentially what you're saying, that there could be that ministerial discretion over due process.
With respect to the service stations regulation, which it's outside our purview. But like I said, these are all laws that are supposed to be seen eye to eye. You know, like I said, when Pura came into play, we have a well-coordinated process now. In fact, to avoid the confusion which can be created by, for example, National Environment Agency granting an approval when Pura said no. You know, we had to have a sort of an agreement with Pura.
An understanding.
You know, so that all applications will emanate from Pura first. You have to go to Pura for a site suitability, preliminary assessment. And after having confirmed that you have met the distance requirement, for example, there's a requirement for the front view of the petrol station to have a certain distance. I'm not so, I think it's 35 meters. Okay? It has to have that. From the main highway? The front view, from the main highway.
Yeah.
That's where you have the inlet and exit. You know, that has to be 35 meters.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I caught the right one.
Okay.
Okay. So they will, and also, like I said, distance from public gathering places. Once they confirm that to be suitable, they will give you a letter, which will be copied, referring you to come and get an environmental approval, referring you to go to GFRS, Gambia Rescue Service, to get a fire certificate, as well as physical planning to get a building permit.
We have already exhausted our time. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming. And this is very important. I think there should be regulations in these sectors to make sure everybody is safe, because sometimes you never know. We've seen things that happen in other countries. We've seen the Ghana incident, where there was a petrol station incident. Many people died. You know, these inflammable products, sometimes they are very difficult to handle and manage. So having you people regulating it, making sure the right thing is done, I think it's a plus for that sector as well. So thank you, and we hope to engage you more in the future.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, so Mr. Mboj will take a short break. After the break, we'll engage QCell Sunyu Boss. They will be on the program to talk about the 75% recharge bonus. So we'll be right back.
Money e Orange Money joni weɓini nuldugol mbuɗi mi yetoma joni ida wawi nuldude mbuɗi eurako Gambia ɗo yaha Senegal e Q Money wallet ma on eyyi ko honno wonɗa e fadde mi yetoma udduto Q Money account ma on joni fuɗɗoɗa nuldude mbuɗi e teriɓe ma ɓe waɗon ka Orange Money nder Senegal fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi ida wawi nuldude Q Money customer care e 133 Q Money suñu kalpe ɗum no yaadi e sartaji. Q Money aning Orange Money ye bulo di nyola pour ka kodi kio sone yandi ka bonang Gambia banko kang kata Senegal banko kang aning Q Money wallet. Eka mune batu imuna fan Q Money account wala sign pour kadati ka kodoki iterimal anila dimbayal kana aning Orange Money Senegal ni lafta ku Senegal sotola je Q Money customer care kumandi 133 Q Money sunyu kalpe nying sartolle bala.
Q Money and Orange Money has just made money transfer easier. Now you can send money from Gambia to Senegal directly from your Q Money wallet. So what are you waiting for? Get your Q Money account now and start sending money to your friends and families through Orange Money in Senegal now. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Banking the smart way with the new Aji Bank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Aji Bank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Aji Bank, your investment partner. Q Money ak Orange Money ñoo lëkkaloo pour yombalal leen yónnee xaalis bàyyi ko Gambia dem ba Sénégal ak Q Money wallet looy toog di xaar dawal léegi nga ubbi Q Money account pour nga mun a door di yónnee xaalis sa xariteeg sa mbokk yi jaarale ko Orange Money Sénégal léegi pour am si lu leer mun nga call Q Money customer care si 133 Q Money suñu kalpe lii dafa ànd ak sarta yuñ tëral.
Well, it's after 10 a.m. already, and we are now heading to the last segment of this program. We have Buba Sedikan, QCell Marketing Supervisor, and of course, Momodu Bari, Sales Supervisor, QCell. And today, we'll be delving into a different service again. That's the QCell 75% recharge bonus when you recharge. You know, it's important. Like we said, QCell is here to stay. We are bringing you amazing services that you can use to make your daily life easy for you. So we have Momodu Bari and Buba Sedikan. Gentlemen, it's good to have you. Good morning again.
Again, thank you very much, Balde. Yes. Always a pleasure to be here.
Yes.
Like you said from the introduction, today is about the 75% recharge bonus that QCell gives you. And before I go any further, Mr. Buddy.
Yes, Buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the viewers of QTV and QCell. Thank you, Gambia, for hosting us again.
Yes, it's good to have you. Sumalen gise salamade kontan. You know why? Hamna ne amna lolen indiwat. You know. Ndaxte yéen da ngeen di ñëw all the time te di ngeen yaaga ñëw si soobee yàlla. Yeah, so Buba, this time lan lañ am?
Waaw, so lii lu fa nekk daal dafa yaaga nekkul loo xam ne teeleen ko door dañ ñëw pour fàttale ko suñ client yi. ñoo xam ne ñu ngi nekkoon ak ñun from day one ak ñoo xam ne they just recently joined us. That QCell right now is the only GSM in the Gambia. Te buñ fàtte ne QCell bu mu doon ñëw fii already fekk na 3 established GSM bu mu fi ñëwoon.
Wow.
We came and became the 4th. But we were the last to come, but we are not the last in the race. So we came with innovative services. So we introduced credit bonus. When we started this credit bonus, we were giving up to, or we are still giving up to 75% credit bonus of any amount you buy. So si lolu tamit ñepp xam nañ ne bonus free la. Because yow soo demee si jaaykati credit bi, for example, nga jënda $100 worth of credit. Xam nga $100 boobu nga jënda $100 boobu nga war a am by right.
Wow.
By QCell ñu ne la déedéet, will give you extra 75% as a bonus. ñu add ko si sa account bi. Te bonus boobu noonu tamit limite ñu la si loo mun a def ak bonus bi like the others. So ñun ñu ne la bonus bi mu nga ko browser, which is very important because our daily life revolves around the internet. ñu ne la mu nga ko callee to any QCell line, but for the time, we use it as SMS as well. So these 3 key things are there for a reason. fekk nañ fii ñu bari fekk nañ ne mënuñ koo def ba tey mënuñ koo def ñun ñu ngi koo def from 2009 ba 2025.
waaw
bàyyuñ ko amuñ any reason pour bàyyi ko so dañ bëgg a suñ client yi xam ne QCell luñ andi is here to stay. duñ andi pour nit ñi ñëw rek miin ko rek ñu ne leen nañ ko bàyyangu because it's a trend that a lot of them do. dañoo indi ñu xëcca leen ñu nappaleen like you fishing.
waaw
jëf nga lonko ko rek nga
after
xëcca ko rek
ñu
génnee ko rek ñu ne leen dëkk bi ba métti.
waaw fekk dëkk bi méttiwul dara. ñoom ñoo ko métti loo rek. waaye méttiwul dara bari. soo mu ngi mel ni bonus baa ngi nii.
waaw
te ñun suñ bonus bi mun nga koo browser. mun nga si def loo bugga. understand nga. soo bari yow tam dugga si tuuti.
téeméeri dërëm soo ko jëndee. ñu delloo la juróom-ñaar fukk ak juróom. lu am solo la. te loolu njëriñ bi ci nekka ñun ñëpp xam nañ ko. diñ ci mun a call QCell ak QCell. diñ ci mun a dugga ci internet. te diñ ci mun a def li nga xam ne bi nga amee téeméeri dërëm boobu moom nga mun a def ci lii. ni ko Buuba waxee rek 2009 bi ñu juddoo ba léegi. wàññiwuñ lépp loo xam ne sago la pour delloo ko askan bi ci lu baax. won leen ne nit ñu fonkee démb nu nit ñeen fonkee tey.
dëgg la.
xamuñ di waxeet. suñ kilifa gi xamul loolu. senior management bi xamuñ loolu. ñun mi nekk ndaw seeni gannaaw di leen toppatam loolu la ñu jàngal. te loolu moo sax ci ñun. kon client yi nga xam ne démba barka démba ñu ngi jàppate bàyyiwuñ. nañ oo ñi nga xam ne jàppaaguñ ñoom itam ñu jàppa te buñ bàyyi.
dëgg la.
ndig institution bi au Q group au QCell mu ngi fi ila yow mi diin. fekk Gambia ngi existe.
waaw
QCell mu ngi fi.
waaw foofu
li ñoo wax nii tey. dañ bëgg a suñ sët sëtaat yi wax ko. dañ bëgg a suñ sët sëtaat yi def ko. dañ bëgg a suñ sët sëtaat yi dunda ko. waaye yéen client yi tamit dañ bëgg a seen doom yi ak seen sët sëtaat yi continue dunda QCell number 3 ak number 5. ndig dafa am solo. Mr Mbodj wax na ko fi démba. kenn du ñoo defaral ñu suñ dëkka. kenn du ñoo gën ñoo fonk suñ dëkka kenn ñoo gën ñoo bëgg ñu suñ dëkka. booba lu baax li ñu fi amoon yëpp ay gan ko fi indi woon. ay gan ñoo ko daan doxal lépp lu foor lu am solo. soo gestoo gën a nekk ci gannaawam.
man sa dégg laa xamoon ne dafa métti woon ci gannaaw de.
bi ma xam na mun naa wax lii waaye bi maa ñëw fii. dama waxoon ñi ma toogaloon di waxtaan ne suñ ma jëlee kontaan naa buñ ma jëlut kontaan naa ñu ne ma ndig lan may leen ndig doomi réew maa ko moom. te ku jàppale doomi réew mi mu dem. te dama ko nar a jàppale. ndax looloo tax ñu jox ma liggéey wasalaam. waaye xamoon naa ne doomi réew mi tànk koy dëgër la am pour réew mi tànki kanam la am pour réew mi. waa ji police bi daf ko jàpp muy couleur mbeku. xam nga couleur mbeku.
xaw ma ko de.
xam nga couleur mbeku.
wax ma si luy loolu.
couleur mbeku mooy yuutoon.
couleur mbeku.
waaw mooy yuutoon la fana di wax yuutoon. léegi bi waa ji couleur mbeku police bi jàpp ko.
waaw
yóbbu ko ci magistrate bi maa ji Mbay la sant magistrate bi sant Mbay. gis nga affaire bi léegi. police bi ne magistrate bi Mr Mbay di dafa yuutoon. magistrate bi gestu Mr Mbay mu ne ko da nga yuutoon. mu ne ko lan mooy yuutoon mu ne ko da nga dem bi si Johnson bi nga ne mu ne moom defut loolu. mu ne moom lim def couleur mbeku la tudda ci fekkee mun nañ ko àtte ci couleur mbeku. moom dina nangu waaye suñ ko àtte ci yuutoon.
couleur mbeku waay.
mu ne bu leen couleur mbeku da daal moo ko def luñ ko daan baax na. bu dee yuutoon la moom deful loolu.
deful yuutoon de
deful yuutoon magistrat bi na ko baax na mun ngaa dem. waaw ñu ne tamit amuñ yuutoon balde.
waaw ñun couleur mbeku la ñëw. ñun couleur mbeku la
ñun amuñ couleur mbeku ñun amuñ yuutoon. ñun daal duñu arrière ci dara.
waaw ci kanam.
waxoon naa la fii ne N bi. teeñ bi rek a fi nekk N bi ñëwagul.
waaye teeñ bi diis na de.
diisagul. diisagul wallahi diisagul. ñu ngi tooga loo xam ne. xam nga cin bu naree.
waaw foog mu xeeñ
foog mu xeeñ.
waaw
ñu ngi tooga. te léegi te ñu yëkka. te li ñëw yëkka nag ñëpp pour njëriñu askan bi la. waxantu wuñ. du dañ am télé am rajo.
dëgg la
mun a coow oo bari wax oo neex laa meñ. affaire bi du loolu. dañ koo def ngeen gis ko.
tey suñ bëggoon a coow. cooweekaay bi ñun ñoo ko amee.
ñoo ko amee.
waaw waaye gis nga coow bi ñun dañ xam ne jarul coow waxal rek liggéey bi fés
waxal li am rek
waaw
nit ñi dinañ àttal seen boppa
loolu la
li ngeen a wax daal ñu ngeen a dincal lu am solo ñu ngeen a pare lu am solo préparé leen samedi ak dimanche
waaw
di ngeen ñu dégg te di ngeen ñu gis te di ngeen xam loo xam ne ñun réew mii
ay QCell
duñu fi boma
ma ne affaire si QCell la waay affaire bi QCell la ah Buuba
is very big waaw du ñëw
samedi ak dimanche
waaw is very big
Gambia samedi ak dimanche am na luy ñëwaat pare leen seen QCell laay ni QCell ñëwaati la de
luñ bëgg ñëpp koo xam ne yaa ngi seetaan right now dégg nga dawal nga jël sim card bëgguñ dimanche nga toog nga ñëw laajte fan laa mun a customer care moom laa mun a amee sim card bëgguñ loolu noonu dañ bëgg nga am sa sim card be on standby
maa ngi pare léegi ma dem ma TikTok ko wane ne samedi ak dimanche pare leen seen sim card QCell mu ngi ñëw
misi am fulɓe waaw mi woni haalde tun ko ɗum ɗo gila 2009 mbiɗa ɗo ko golle tun addi men ɗo na ɗaynugol on na haaldugol ko na goonga ko min fuɗɗi ha joni miɗen wiya on QCell ko onon min wonani ɗo 75% bonus na sama kala sa sodi crédit min ruttama 75% bonus ɗum ko weltare minen noddo on yo yahan number 3 on e number 5 on number 3 number 5 on woni QCell ka wonɗa o ko wonɗa si tawi tun ɗa wawi wadde replace line ma on doggo wata ɗo replace line ma on joni yaha ka QCell branche ji waɗa replace line ma heɓa number 3 heɓa number 5 ko woni arde asawe e dimanche on yiyay inchallah min ɗaynani on
aw Buuba alɓe parerin ne
non mba parerin ne man na feyala kabirin QCell na folo fa mole anono ko QCell man na feyala QCell pareta dow kol katu ku jamal ba gambe jang alata ko la QCell latina sim card mo friti QCell latina Gambia 3G long Gambia 4G long Gambia 5G long o be mo QCell lati QCell latina sate dolba gambe jang ya long milem internet oti because kabirin janning QCell mina mostly namil taraja il focus ta Greater Banjul area iman santon kol e ka fo sural ba ime fale ndol nata na mol ko mbayro suñu boslem to latam mo bela dabeje no matter how remote you are mo bela dabeje mo tanna ba village oto mo kemela ba village oto we don't mind ba anteno di lalla nal dabula Gambia kono Gambia nol bota min kala ko mon ko le min kala muta 5 o'clock alba kala muta la 5 o'clock alta kala muta la in the next day ka fo because before wole wololo ha ko mbasal tale samana mbasal milotina no lack of communication lack of infrastructure QCell o change now what is happening here is happening over there it's real time yes it's real time so this has something
nimboro mamme
koma tula bokala anu sambi koma tula balon
degala de su daw bi yagu duñ xam yapat bi de
duñ xam yapat bi
waaw
ñi ngay feñ nan kan nga because buñ doore topic bi from the bonus part numa ko waxee rek it's something that ñun buñ starté ba léegi stopuñ ko duma tural tur waaye am na ñoo xam ne stop ne am na ñoo xam ne ñu la koo jox waaye génnee nañ si bénéfice yu bari ñun la ko jox for the sake of jox su doon ñun dañ mel noonu ñooyu noonu ñun tam mun nañoo bàyyi ñu ne qu'est-ce que am na ñu ko def ñun tam suñ ko defee kenn du wax waaw dafa mel ni nga dem si beneen sob bi kooku jaay la omeele $50 nga dem si keneen 45 soo waxee kooku noonu kii jaay na ma ko 50 di moonte ne la ko jaay 50 di mi na la ne kii def na ko bàyyi ma def ko QCell menuñ noonu just because they are doing it we are not going to do it mun nañ koo def waaye duñ ko def because ñun we are here to help we are not here to exploit nekku ñëwuñ fii pour jox leen loo xam ne is mediocre ñun it has been quality from the start and it will be quality to the end
absolutely so mu ngi mel ni bari time bi jeex na Buuba thank you very much comme nu ma leen ko waxee déglu leen ma QCell mu ne samedi ak dimanche ñu ngi pare loo xam ne kon jël leen seen QCell line yi ngeen pare musidɓe QCell inni iɓe parani on samedi e dimanche no woodi ko ɓe foti addude a waɗaɓe line ji mon ɗin paron QCell paretale ko ñin sibito anin dimanche o iɓe fenne naatila me yaalon ko molɓe ɓe contana surprise baɗe wonene manque woto ala la QCell line ol ñini aliya pare woto ala barka bake we innovate will they follow thank you very much viewers Mr. Momadou Mbodj this is all we have for this week until we come back here next week again. Do have a wonderful day. Bye bye.